for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. One of his advocacy, Get Hired Fast. We network with Mr. Eric Woodard.
Hey, Daniel, it's super nice to see you here today.
Yes, likewise. Thank you, Mr. Eric, to being part on Book One on Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a coach. I'm based out of Washington D.C. and I help a lot of people get hired fast and do a lot of other things that I suspect we'll get into today.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your advocacy to the world. Thank you for that knowledge and wisdom you're imparting with us. So tell us, promises speed with quality. Is there a tension between rushing the process and finding the right long-term fit?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of this idea, Daniel, of like linear time versus non-linear time. Like, we'll just go right into it
Mm-hmm.
and talk about the nature of time, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, there's nothing very linear or logical or fair really about job hunting in my experience. And I think that's true kind of wherever you are in the US, Canada, worldwide. Um, so um, I don't know that it's so much about the time as much it is as it is about making connections with people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So what is most common mindset block you use in talented people that keeps them from getting hard quickly, and what is your first step to overcome it?
Absolutely. Well, at least in my experience, and I'm just one guy, I could be wrong, is a lot of times people. Well, I'll ask you a question, Daniel, and again, I'll put you on the spot here, brother.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good resume about?
A good resume, it's something all the qualities in you is in one paper.
Sort of. It's not a bad answer, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
answer most people would give. And I would suggest, and see,
Mm-hmm.
it's see, if I were to ask the question like, if you're going to be influential with another person, so I'll ask you again, Daniel, if you want to be influential with another person, Daniel, what's the first thing you
Yes,
talk about?
I talk about my accolades.
Oh, well, maybe,
Is it?
or you want to talk about them, right? You
Okay.
want to make them
Mm-hmm.
feel seen, heard, and understood because we're all walking around thinking about ourselves, right?
Okay.
As you just showed. So if we can be the person that, at least for a moment, is thinking about them versus ourselves, right? It can give us an advantage. And so one could argue that a good resume isn't about us. It's
About
about
them.
them. It's about the person or organization we're sending it to. And if we can make that mind shift across the board, it can be a real game changer.
Awesome. Thank you for that
Sure.
empowering tips, Mr. Eric.
Sure.
It's about them, people. It's
It's about
not
them.
about me.
That's right.
Them. In a competitive market, fast is relative. From your perspective, what is a realistic timeline for a fast hire using your methods?
Yeah.
And what factors are within a candidate control to accelerate it?
It's great. So there's like two questions there. I mean, you're right. Fast is relative. I mean, I've had clients start to work with us, and we like to get a little bit of credit for these ones, but like get hired in 12 hours. That has
Mm-hmm.
happened. I've also had clients do everything right, and it's taken 4 or 5 months. And so you're right. It is not. It's more of an art than a science. But to your question about what we can control, and sometimes, at least in my experience, I find um, people will get frustrated that they're not getting more interviews. They'll get frustrated that they're not getting more offers. And if we think about it, we really can't control that stuff. It's not up to us. Now, the things we can control are like the opportunities we reach out to, the quality of our application, um, the frequency and quality of our follow up, how we're networking. That's a big one that a lot of people leave by the side of the road. So those are all things we can control. And there's not a perfect correlation between those things and getting interviews and offers. However, it is correlated. the more networking we do, the better follow up we have, the better applications we do, the more clarity we have over how we're going to serve a world in need. That results in more interviews and offers.
Yes. Interesting answer, Mr. Eric. In a competitive market, what are the proven key or metric or evidence that convince you that these strategies work at a scale beyond just
Yeah.
anecdotal success?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer that people make this, people will walk around and they say, we make data driven decisions. I'm like, no, you don't. Nobody does, right? Human
Mm-hmm.
decision making is 100% emotional and it happens very quickly. And then, once we make that emotional decision, we spend a lot of time rationalizing, the data, but that comes later. And
Mm.
that being said, the data that we have shows that most people that we work with using these strategies get offers within 3 months or less. Some it's 4 months, and then we have some stragglers that go longer. But I think like 75% of people that work with us get offers in like 4 months or less. And there's another 20 or so percent that for whatever reason it takes them a little longer. So, and again, I could give you all the data in the world, nobody would care, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, yes. So in strategy and differentiation, most advice says to tailor your resume and cover letter in your fast system. What is the minimum viable customization needed for an application to stand out
Such a
without
great question.
spending hours per job?
Yeah, such a great question. So the opportunity here is to have a system, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the reason a grocery store opens on time is there's a system. The reason we hopefully most of the time wake up and brush our teeth every morning is we have a system. And
Yes.
so when it comes to customizing one's resume, you're gonna want to have a system. And usually if a resume if a resume is about them, we're definitely going to want to customize it, and we're going to do it in a way that is pretty nimble and frictionless. Um, when I work with clients, I usually say if they can go through that process 15-20 minutes, and there's a system for doing it where we get really clear about what they want, and then we incorporate those ideas. Not necessarily, some people will throw in keywords and they're trying to trick ATS computer systems. That doesn't work in my experience. What does work is um, m- making a resume so that when employers see it, they see possibility for themselves. And the way you do that is you put ideas in there that resonate with them. And usually that's 15-20 minutes that you can do. It doesn't take a ton um, to make people feel seen, heard, and understood because there's a severe lack of that in the world today, I would humbly suggest.
Humbly suggest yes, definitely. And where do job seekers waste the most of time in their search?
Oh, absolutely. I get the feeling you've done this before, Daniel. These are such good questions. Seriously, these are
Yes,
really good questions. I
I
really acknowledge
did.
you. So there's a lot of time wasters. I mean, I think one of the biggest ones is spending time regulating their nervous system just to feel safe. So it's
Hmm.
time spent, you know, basically staring at computer screens. And one of the places this shows up most is job boards. So and it's like so many other things in the world today, right? People will go and they'll sit in front of a computer and they'll scroll. They'll scroll and they'll scroll and they'll scroll. And it feels like they're job hunting. And all they're really doing is just scrolling on a computer screen. There's no contact with another person. There's no action other than the mouse. And at least in my experience, and it feels like and it's exhausting, but that's where most job seekers waste time, and that at least in my experience.
Mr. Eric, networking is often the number one tip, but can feel slow and transactional. What is your
Yeah.
most effective tactic for building a
Oh, you're so
genuine,
good. Yeah. So
genuine?
absolutely. So a lot of times people will treat networking like if we were going fishing, right? They'll treat it like you
Yes.
have one pole with one line and you got to get the right bait on the right fish at the right time at the right depth. I mean, good lord. I mean, that just good luck with all that. The opportunity instead is to filter the ocean. right? Because we don't wherever we think the fish are going to be, they're not going to be. So we want to be everywhere at once. And so the way to do this at scale is, and it goes back to what I was saying before about we make it about them, right? If we reach out to people and we say, hey, not a lot of people are getting this message. If you're getting it, means you're somebody who's really had a career that's really trustworthy. Um, and we have a system for doing that. People want to help. People love to be asked for help. When we ask others for help, it's a gift because it shows that their help is worth asking for. So that's the kind of system you want to have.
Yes, and let's talk about audiobooks. What is
Yeah.
all about the ultimate guide to internship?
Ultimate Guide to Internships. Yeah. So this one is a book. I'm overdue to write another book, Daniel. This one is from a little ways ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent about 10 years getting really, really sort of becoming one of the world's experts on internships. I did my doctoral dissertation on internships and wrote a bunch of books about internships. And I was director of internships and fellowships at the Smithsonian, lots to do with internships. And so this book here really talks about the power of internships, and especially for early professionals, how to make the most of them, and the sorts of things that they can look out for in terms of learning through an internship.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And how about your last day of school?
Believe it or not, it's another book about internships, right? So the books I've written, yeah, no, it's that's the same thing, and it basically, one of the things I find, and it goes back to what we were saying about them. When we're in school, it is very much about us, right? It's our cubby, it's our desk,
Mm-hmm.
it's our worksheet, it's our transcript, it's our trophy, it's our diploma. And yet when we move to the working world, it very much becomes about them. It's the client, the constituent, the customer, your listeners. It's about them. And yet
Yes, it's
somehow
about them.
nobody gives us the memo, right? Nobody sends us the memo. And so when so often, because the first job we ever seek is out of school, we just are in this mode and we think, oh, job hunting is about us. Nah, it's about them. And any seasoned professional will know in the workplace it's about them. But there's something about this job hunting that nobody gets the memo. So that's kind of what this book is about.
Interesting, Mr. Eric. And how do I find an internship?
Yeah, this one's a little dated, right? But it basically, people are basically like, I want, and again, this is aimed at early professionals. They're basically like, I want to find an opportunity. Like, how do I do it? And so that's what this book is about. And interestingly, a lot of the things that one can employ to find a great internship is same stuff you can employ to find a great job. It's easy. What I find with early professionals, right? When we first start out in our careers, right? The number of opportunities, I don't know if people can see my hands spread out, but I'm holding them wide, right? The number of
Yeah,
opportunities
they
is
can
really
see it.
wide, right? But
Mm-hmm.
our network is really small. And as we proceed, those two things invert, right? So by the time one's an old man like me, like the network is wide, then the opportunities are small. And so what's great about early professionals, even if they don't have a huge network, there's just so many opportunities because they're starting at a level where everybody needs help. And one could argue that's changing a little bit with AI, and I don't think it's going to change completely. There's still going to be a need for real humans doing sort of the fundamental stuff, and very often that boils down to that being interns.
Yes, indeed. And how about, well, internship? Why
Why internships are good?
internships are
Yeah.
good?
So
What is all
it's
about?
yeah. There used to be this controversy, and it sort of died
Mm-hmm.
down a little bit now about the idea of internships being paid or not paid. And
Yes.
what sort of concerned me about this debate, of course, if somebody's going to get an internship, and if we can offer them money to support them if it's a student, 100%. And the purpose of an internship, I would argue, is learning. That's what makes it different than a regular job, right? A job is about like being a professional and creating a result, getting taking care of business, right? That's a job, and people trade their time for money. That's a job. internships aren't about that. Otherwise, they would just be a job. They're about learning. And so people sort of got this muddled and they said, well, a good internship is one that got paid. And I'm like, well, that no, a minimum wage job is where people get paid. They might not be learning much at all. And so I try to make this argument that internships are about learning, whether they're paid or not. And you can have a great internship that's paid or not paid. Um, the thing that makes an internship good is the learning. And so that's what that book's about.
Yes, and thank you for sharing your books to the world.
Of
Win,
course.
win at work. That little voice. What it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, win at work, right? So was that
Yeah.
a question,
Yes.
Daniel? What is
Yes.
win at work all about?
Yeah. What it's all about, Mr.
Sorry,
Eric.
I misunderstood you. So yeah, so win at work, it's my coaching practice, and help about we help a lot of people create miracles in their work and life. And we've got our main program is called Get Hired Fast, and we help. Like last week, I think we had 8 people get hired. The idea is that people who join our program, we get them hired in 3 months or less, or we stay with them until they do get hired. And because job hunting is tough enough. It's even tougher when one does it alone, and
Yes.
so or when one's trying to spend a lot of time trying to figure out the systems for it. And so we just help people fast track that, so they're not doing it alone, and they don't have to recreate systems on their own because we've sort of cracked the code on a lot of this stuff.
Yes. Well, good luck for that and looking forward for more success,
You too,
Mr.
buddy.
Eric. And let's talk about on the mindset and
Yeah.
psychology. Jump hunting is emotionally draining. What is your best advice for maintaining resilience, confidence, and momentum after repeatedly rejections or
Oh, it's such a great question.
ghosting?
Yeah. So, it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting,
Thank you.
and this very much is a mindset thing. It's not the rejection that gets us down. It's what we make it mean. There's this really great video. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Jia Jiang. It's this Chinese guy who lives in Texas. I think he lives in Houston or Austin. Jia Jiang on rejection. And he did this
Mm-hmm.
experiment where he basically walked around and just tried to get rejected. And what he found was it was
Wow.
really hard, right? Like he would like knock
To
on somebody's
reject.
front door and be like, "Can I play soccer in your backyard?" I mean, just like ridiculous things, right? And he found it was really hard to get rejected 99 times. And he would just do outlandish stuff. He's like, "Can I eat dinner at your house?" And people would invite him in. So so he made rejection into a game, and it became hilarious, right? And so often job
Mm,
seekers, when they face rejection, one, they take it seriously, which is a mistake, right? I would argue, or
yes.
it's not workable. So they get those automated emails, and they don't just ignore them, because who cares? It's a flimsy little email. And
Mm-hmm.
even if it is a real where organizations like, hey, we're not going to hire you, what happens is they make it mean something about themselves, as opposed to what it actually means, which is they're not going to hire me. That's all it means. Anything else we put on that is just a story.
Mm.
So, but sometimes people forget that, especially when they're on a job hunt and they're tired and they're alone and they're worried about money. It can play a real trick on the old mind, for sure.
Yes. Well, people, rejection is the process to getting better. For sure.
Absolutely. Or a lot of times when I have job seekers that are really struggling with a big fat no, what I like to remind them is they've just been spared. The
Mm-hmm.
day will come sometime somewhere down the road where they realize, oh, thank goodness I didn't get that job.
Yes.
And
Sooner or
I can't say
later.
when that is, but sooner or later. That's right. Yeah.
You realize, oh, thank God, thank God.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Many people struggle to articulate their unique value. What is a framework you use to help someone clearly and confidently define their superpower?
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting because it makes me think of, I don't know if Gay Hendricks has written about like zone of genius, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that there is some truth to that. Like we all probably have a zone of genius where we can do things that seem effortless, and other people are like, how do you do that?
Yes,
So that,
superpower.
yeah, so that's a real superpower. And when it comes to value, you know, we don't have to, I would humbly suggest that, again, it's just my own opinion, we don't have to worry about it, because, you know, there's not enough money in the world, Daniel, to pay you what you're worth, because that much
Yes.
money hasn't been printed. There's not enough crypto. There's not enough Canadian dollars, American dollars. That much money does Bitcoin. There's not that much money hasn't been created. Same for me. Same for anybody listening to this. So the question is not what's the value I bring. The question is who am I? Because nobody can actually afford what we're worth. So the question is how much are we going to give how much of a coupon are we going to give people, and who are we going to give that coupon to? Those are the only real questions. Our value comes from the fact that we're here, that we're breathing. And oftentimes people will tie their value to like external events, and it's just not a very workable system in my experience, as opposed to knowing that one's value just comes because you're here. Yeah, like that.
For someone making a career pivot, how do the values differ? How
Yeah,
do they
so sorry, you broke.
compensate for lack of direct experience?
Yeah, no, it's a great
Yes.
question, career pivot.
Can you hear me now?
So yeah, yeah, I got you, buddy. I got you. So like
Yeah.
what I find is people will say I'm making a career pivot, and
Yeah.
they'll basically be like, I've been I'm just making this up. I've been working for like 20 some years, and now that I'm making this pivot, I'm starting from
Mm-hmm.
scratch. And I'm like, huh? Like,
Okay.
realize that if and when we make a pivot in our career, it's not that we have to throw away the 15 or 20 or 10 or 5 or however many years, because any job we'll have is going to involve things that are important for any future job. Things like communication, professionalism, organization, collegiality, a million things, right? And so instead of going to a future employer and saying, "Oh, I'm starting from scratch. I've never done, I want to be the 50-year-old intern." You know what, right? Instead of doing that, what you're going to want to say is, and I could tell a ton of stories about this, is to say, hey, you're really focused on that. Let me tell you a story that relates to that, related to stuff I've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And leave the
Yes.
space for the employer to fill in the blank that, oh, yeah, this person does know what's going on here. Because you do.
Yes, definitely so, Mr. Eric, as an author, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it.
Hey, Daniel, I'm
How?
so sorry. Can you can
Yes,
you repeat that question? I think there's weather between
lagging.
you and me in the world, buddy. Repeat that question for me one more
Yes,
time. It's
there's
okay.
lagging. Yes, as Mr. Eric, as an author, entrepreneur, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Oh, my long-term goals? Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
it's a
please.
great question, and it's one that I ask clients all the time, right? So you ask me the question, I'm like, oh, what are my goals? I mean, it's really to help as many people figure out, because what I find, Daniel, is there's so many people, and some of them may be listening to this podcast right now, who are sitting at home, who want to make a difference in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and for whatever reason, they can't get employers to call them back, or they apply and they don't hear back, or whatever it is, and they're sitting there just like, you know the world doesn't need me. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, the world is so in need right now. The world's in desperate need. It needs everybody. It needs everybody on the field, especially people who care, especially people like who listen to your podcast, right? And so if I can get some of those people to realize that it's not them, it's just a system that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of messed up, and the system's really hackable. Um, and if I can get more of those people on the field to help a world in need, that's a worthy cause, in my opinion.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Eric, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people that want to be like you?
Like, want to be like me? Well, my piece of advice would be to tell people to don't try and be like me. Be like yourself. Be the best version. Be the best Daniel you can be. Be the best. Fill in your name, whoever you can be. Right? Because that's really going to be your superpower. And
Hmm.
we didn't really talk about, it, but authenticity is the golden coin of the realm. Right? Like people
Yeah,
aren't interested in
yes,
hiring people who are proficient in Microsoft Office. They want the best Daniel. They want the best Eric. They want the best version of you that you can be.
yes.
That's my advice.
The best version of you. Show it to the world, people, and stop procrastinating. Show it. And Mr. Eric, would you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Absolutely. I'm actually reading one right now. I was thinking about but I'm reading, and it's an older book. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. That book is blowing my mind. It's blowing
Hmm.
my mind. And he really talks about this idea of the upper limit problem and how often we will actually self-sabotage ourselves when we get to be really successful. And it's just a great, great book. I highly recommend it.
Thank you for the recommended book, Mr. Eric, on the modern contacts and pitfalls. How has the rise of platforms like LinkedIn and expectation of a personal brand changed the fast hard calculus? What's now a must do?
Yeah, it's interesting. What I find is there's an increasingly automated world, right? So, and I love AI. I'm a fan. It's going to create miracles and it can do stuff that's so cool. And
Mm-hmm, yes.
so many people are just running after the AI stuff, right? And so what it means is is an increasingly automated world. The premium now is on being more human, being more authentic. And so whether it's a platform, and I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn if you're listening to this. I'll love to have you follow me. Is What I find is that in an increasingly automated world, especially on platforms like that, where so much of it is increasingly automated, if you can be the person who's superhuman, who's super authentic, it's irresistible to people. They're so hungry for real people and real stories, especially the younger we get. Because the old guys like me, right? Like I remember a time before it. So, I know what it's like to be around authentic people, but especially I think younger people right now, it's hard for them to have a frame of reference because everything is so automated and so fast. So anything that's real is really valuable.
Yeah, so fast in digital world. Mr. Eric, for the listener who is employed but looking, how do your strategies change to accommodate secrecy and limited time budget?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the strategies change a little bit because sometimes there's politics there, and if I'm currently in a job, I might not necessarily want my current employer to know that I'm on my way out, or maybe I do. Right? Sometimes I think people they overestimate, like, because I mean, there's nothing more powerful than just being really honest and going to your current employer and being like, hey, you know what? I'm on the job hunt right now. I mean, it depends on the exact situation, but that can be really powerful. But let's say we don't want to do that. The strategies don't change that much. I think, having a group of people who one really trusts and who one can be really honest with is never more important than it is when one already has a job. The other thing I'll say about that is sometimes what I'll find is I'll run into people who are like, "Oh, I really want the new job," and I'm like, "Great, how much time and energy are you devoting to that?" And they're not devoting any because I got to go to work. And so it's a catch-22, right? I'm spending all my lifetime and energy on the job I don't want to do at the expense of finding the job I do want to do. And so at some point, like, good boundaries are really important there, where we draw a line and be like, yeah, I won't be doing that job during these hours because I'm going to devote that time to my future, not my present or my past. And that can take a little bit of practice.
A good boundaries indeed. And Mr. Eric, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. Other podcast because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. My book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season. And my food 101 in sixth season. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101, music 101 are in fourth season. Science 101, sex 101 in second season. And my baby podcast. Law 101, mental health 101, and Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Eric, tell us if someone successfully uses your strategies to get hired fast, what's the one principle or habit they should carry into the new job to ensure they remains their dream job?
It's great, great question. I mean, I think I'm going to give two. One, make it about them. Make it about them, and you probably heard this before, Daniel, but like what other people think of us is really none of our business. Not what they think, but what they think of us. It's really none of our business. All right. And if you can go
Yes.
through the world with that mindset, making it about them, being of service, and realizing that what they think about you is none of your business, you'll be the most
True.
dangerous man in the world, in a good way, or lady, or whoever you are. You'll be a dangerous person in the workplace. That's for sure.
I like that. Don't care what people say about you, people.
That's
That's
right.
outstanding. Come on. So, Mr. Eric Woodard, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects
Thank you
that
so
you're
yeah,
doing
thank
right
you so
now?
much, Daniel. So look, if anybody here is looking for help to figure out their current job or the next one, you can find out more at winatwork.io. That's winatwork.io. And if nothing else, I love LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, so you can always look me up on LinkedIn. You'll see just Eric Woodard Coach. I'll pop right up and give me a follow on LinkedIn. I post cool stuff every day and would love to be connected with you there.
Yes, people, I support Mr. Eric Woodward because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering books that empower us. So, Mr. Eric, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. You're a rock star, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, more to come, people. See you soon.